welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to crochet this doll size tote bag. So this is a very simple design. It's worked in one piece and it's just an open bag, no fancy straps or anything like that. And it's very customizable, so you can make it longer if you want it longer or shorter if you want it shorter. And you can also adjust the length of the straps, so you can kind of pick how you want your bag to look. But yeah, so for this project you're going to need a size medium 4 weight yarn. The one that I'm using today is the Caron Simply Soft Party yarn in the color Fuchsia Sparkle. And then you'll also be needing a size H or 5mm crochet hook, a pair of scissors, and a tapestry needle. Okay, so you're going to start by grabbing your yarn and making a slip knot. And then you're just going to place the loop onto your hook and begin by chaining 13. Okay, so here I have my 13 chains, and what you're going to do to start is skip that first chain and do a half double crochet into the second chain from the hook. And then you're going to do one half double crochet into every chain along except for the very last chain, because we're going to be doing something different in there. Okay, so here I am doing my last half double crochet before that final chain. So I've done 11 half double crochets along my row, and we only have one stitch left to work into. So you're going to do 5 half double crochets into that last stitch of the row. Okay, so now as you can see, those 5 half double crochets in the same stitch kind of turned us onto the bottom of the chains. So we've already worked on top of them, and now we're going to be working on the bottom of them. So because there were 12 stitches that we worked into on the top, there are going to be 12 loops that we're going to work into on the bottom as well. So what you're going to do is you're going to do one half double crochet into every loop along, except for that last one over here. So that'll be 11 half double crochets that you're doing along the row. Okay, so now I have done one half double crochet into every loop except for that last one here, and I've done 11 half double crochets on the bottom of these chains. So into that last loop, you're just going to do 5 half double crochets into the same stitch, just like we did on the top. So now we are at the end of our row, so you're just going to insert your hook into that very first stitch. And then just do a slip stitch to pull the whole row together. So now we have completed our first row, and for the second row you're going to start by chaining one and turning. And then this first little thing that looks like a stitch, that's actually the slip stitch that we just did to connect the rows. So you're going to skip that and go into the next stitch and just do 1 half double crochet into every stitch around the row. So I'm going to meet you back here when I am done with this row so that I can show you what we're going to be doing for the next rows. Okay, so now I am back and here I am just finishing up the second row. So I've just done my last half double crochet and I'm going to slip stitch into that very first stitch again to connect the row. So you can see from that second row that the bag is already starting to get longer. That's because we didn't increase anymore, so it's just going to start gaining height. So now you're just going to chain one and turn and do 1 half double crochet into every stitch along once again, and you're going to repeat this row until you have the height that you want for your bag. So for me, I had 9 rows total on my bag when I was satisfied with the height, including the first 2. So that was how long I wanted my bag to be, but if you want yours to be shorter, you can do less rows, and if you want it to be longer, you can do more rows. So I'm going to meet you back here when I am done doing my rows of half double crochet so that I can show you how to make the strap, because that's what we're going to be doing next. Okay, so here I am just finishing up my 9th row of half double crochets, and this is what mine looks like now. So you can see that it's gotten a lot taller, and yeah, now we are going to be creating the strap to go over your doll's arm. So what you're going to do for that is you're going to chain one and turn. And then before I told you to skip that slip stitch, that very first one that looks like a stitch but it's a slip stitch from the last row, but now you're going to be going into that and doing a half double crochet. And then you're also going to do a half double crochet into the next stitch. So instead of going into any more stitches, you're just going to chain one and turn and do 1 half double crochet into each of those stitches that we just did. And you're just going to keep chaining one and turning and doing 1 half double crochet into each of those 2 stitches until you have the length for your strap that you want. So for me, 22 rows was enough, and it seemed to be a good length for the strap over my doll's arm. But if you want it to be longer, you can add more rows, and if you want it to be less long, then you can do less rows. So I'm going to meet you back here when I am done making my strap so that I can show you how we're going to attach it to the other side and finish off this tote bag. Okay, so now I am just doing my final half double crochet on my strap, and now I finished my 22 rows, so this is how long my strap is. And what we're going to do now is just leave a little bit of a tail and cut the yarn. So you want to leave a little more of a tail so that we can sew it onto the other side. It won't take very much yarn to sew it onto the other side, but I still think that it's better to have a longer tail because it's much easier to sew. But then once it's cut, you can just pull it through that loop on your hook to create a knot. So then you're just going to grab your tapestry needle and thread that yarn from the end of the strap onto it so we can sew it onto the other side. So now what you're going to do is you're going to fold your bag in half, and you can see that we have this stitch in the middle here and one on either side of it. So we're going to be attaching our strap onto those 3 stitches. So you're going to start by going into the one on the left. It's right next to like that middle one on the end. And make sure your strap isn't twisted as you do this. And then you're going to go into that first stitch on the strap, just like this. And then next you're going to be going into that stitch right after the first one we went into. And you'll just pull your yarn through. And then after that you'll go into the last stitch on the strap. And finally one more stitch along on the bag. So now we are all done with the sewing. So what you're going to do now is just turn your bag inside out, and we're going to be sewing in our ends here because you don't want to sew them in on the right side because then you'll see them. But before you sew in this end, actually you might want to make a knot. You don't have to, but I just think it makes it a little more secure. So you find a little spot to insert your needle into, then you pull it through like halfway and you go into that loop from pulling it through halfway, if that makes sense. But you're basically just like pulling it through twice to make that little knot. So then we're going to be sewing in both of our ends. There's the one on the bottom there, and also the one from sewing the strap onto the rest of the bag. So I'm just going to go ahead and weave in those ends, but once you have woven in your ends, you are done with your bag. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you liked it, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Also make sure to check out my Etsy, which is called Willow Dolls Designs. It'll be linked in the description box down below in case you are interested. But anyways, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye!